Thank you for coming to the taping. You know, the last taping I did was for Kevin Hart, and he messed with me right before I went on the show. He looked at me and was like, you know what, man? You look like the bootleg version of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I was like, you look like the bootleg version of a normal-sized man. I didn't say that out loud. It was more like, thank you. The last show I did before the COVID was for the Vietnam War vets. And, oh yeah, give them a round of applause. And my manager tells me to wear a full army outfit to support their cause. Now, that's the stupidest thing to wear when you're Asian and you're playing for a bunch of Vietnam War vets. I got heckled. It's still alive! It was really scary. That's what I started comedy in 1995, my first year in comedy. I had to tell the audience I was Chinese because nobody knew what the heck a Filipino was back then. Is that from Philadelphia? What is that? We were around the 90s, as nobody knew who we were. We were like kale. If you're not laughing, sir, you're really unhealthy. So, my parents met in the 70s. We started off in the ghetto. My dad worked really hard to get us out of the ghetto. We were rich Filipinos in the 90s. This is before rich Filipinos, before Bruno Mars, before Manny Pacquiao the boxer, before the Jabberwockies. If you don't know what the Jabberwockies are, they're a Filipino dance group with one black guy for the hard moves, and we don't have strong necks as Filipinos. With the head spins like, shoot. Wait, I'm also a nurse, I'll heal myself. We're rich, but our faces did not match the neighborhood we lived in. I remember my dad was working on the lawn. The neighbor came up to my dad and asked him, hey man, how much does the owner pay you per week to work on his lawn? My dad was so smart, he was like, $1,000 a week. I can give you a deal for $800. The guy goes, cool. So my dad goes in the house, tells my brother and I we got summer jobs for $100 a week each. My dad invented outsourcing before India. Anyways, it's okay, the one Indian guy's laughing. This is cool. I'm so happy to do this because this is my first month back after the whole year of pandemic, and it's a real audience with real feeling and real vibe. I love it. Yeah. This is not a Zoom show. That's great. I've been doing Zoom shows for the whole year. They mute the audience. So when I do the punchline, I don't hear any laughter. So I have to create it in my head like a narcissist. I'm funny right now. I'm so hot too. And you stare at yourself for 45 minutes straight. Now we all look at ourselves in the mirror every morning. After 10 minutes, you're done. Imagine 45 minutes straight. You know how disgusting you look? You compare, you're like, my eyebrow's shorter than this eyebrow. I have a giant forehead. I had no idea. My forehead is huge. I could put my face on my forehead and talk to you like this. I have a massive forehead. Plus I'm receding. That's global warming on my head. My ice cap is melting. You know when guys lose hair here, they counter it with a beard. You seen that? The bald of the head, the bigger the beard gets. They're trying to recreate their face upside down. If you're white or black, grow that beard as thick as you want. Look good. If you're Asian, no, you gotta stop right here. Any more than this brings our faces back 5,000 years. Is that a samurai in the bus stop? It does make you look tough, you got that beard. I'm not that tough. I'm allergic to too many things to be tough. Like if we got in a fight and you threw peanuts on my face, I would cry and pass out. You win the fight. I'm allergic to too many things. Peanuts, peas, chickpeas, soy, lentil, cats. Man, I lost all my lesbian friends. No offense. Listen, guys, it's so cute. We know. I'm allergic to soy sauce. I'm freaking Asian. That's our ketchup. That's like a white people were allergic to, I don't know, guilt. Anyways, I say that because it hurts you and you deserve it. No, I just say that because you can't be racist against white people. It doesn't work. It just bounces off your chest like Superman. You don't care. I try all the time. Cracker! I like crackers. I'm like, all right. I just think certain things in life should be white, you know. I think people want to be represented on television too. Certain things on TV should just be white. Like the game show Cash Cab, that could only be hosted by a white guy. Any other race would be too scary for the contestants. Like a Mexican, hey, Vato, lock the doors. Let me ask you a couple questions. Or the hit movie Back to the Future can only have a white guy go back in 1955 and then return. a movie called Escape to the Future, let's be honest. I'm happy Santa Claus is white. That's a good call. Santa Claus should be white. If there's any other race coming down your chimney at 2 o'clock in the morning, call the police. Certain races and sports can't mix. Filipinos and Mexicans, we couldn't be on certain sports. We couldn't be on curling. Not that we would be good at. These guys are amazing sweepers, but looks pretty racist. Rosa, you're amazing. Oh, it's like a part-time job, very easy. It's okay to laugh. It's okay. Me and the brown guy, we're having a good time. Oh man, my dad's a hardcore Christian. I love him, but he gets really angry when I do dirty material. He gets really upset. Stop that! Stop talking about this one. God will get mad at you. That's my dad's favorite saying. God will get mad at you. One day they'll be talking bull crap on the streets. Talking about this one. And the clouds will open, a giant fist will come and punch you in the face. Usually at this time I'm overseas. I go around 30 countries a year. And first time I went to Asia 5 years ago. I'm Asian, should go, right? Not what I thought. We'd totally been lied to in America. First country I went to Asia was Korea. Guess what, guys? No Korean barbecue buffets anywhere. I'm like, this is bull. I'm going to South Korea. Next country I went to was China. Check this out. No fortune cookies in China. It was invented in the 1800s in San Francisco. I was like, where's my fortune cookie? What's that? It's a cookie with a note inside that tells your future. Oh, you're going to get diabetes. You've been here 3 times this week. Then I went to India, my favorite place. Love Mumbai. No 7-Elevens. I'm like, this is weird. You know, in Japan, it takes you 10 years to become a professional sushi chef. That's a long time learning to cook something that doesn't need to be cooked in the first place. Isn't sushi finished before you catch the fish? I think originally sushi was the Japanese word for stove not working. I'm happy you guys laughed at that joke. You're not as PC. I'm from Canada. They're really PC out there. That's where all the Karens came from. And this one lady was like, that was racist against Japanese people. I'm like, why? Because you did their accent. I'm like, look, man, I did that joke in Japan. They loved the joke. They didn't get it, but they're all like, oh, you sound exactly like us. Look, I'm not being racist, I'm being racial. Let me just tell you right there, okay? There's a big difference, and let's understand this. When you're racist, you're there to hurt the other culture on purpose. When you're racial, you're racist, but you pretend you're not. So, now the truth is, if I do a joke about another race, I do it in front of that race. If they like it, I keep it. If they don't like it, I don't do it. But if they like it and say I can't do it, I say, shut up, it's your fault, you laughed. Here's the gray area, and we all have to know what the gray area is. We all have people in our family and friends of different cultures, religions, and backgrounds. We love them like family, and the way you joke around is the way you joke around. That's nobody's business. And if people want to come in and say, you don't know us, get the heck out of our racial party, right? Because, it's true. Some people make you feel bad. You ever feel bad? You're like, oh my gosh, I think that was racist. You do another joke to fix it? Oh my gosh, I think that was even more racist. I met this guy named Yoshi. I'm like, Yoshi, where are you from? Japan. Real Japan? Okinawa, Japan. Like Ninja Japan? Why you say ninja? And I said, sorry, and I bowed. I'm like, why did I do that? Why you bow like that? That's what you guys do. He's like, no, very casual, like this. Hey, like the opposite of your, what's up? And by the way, it's like, I hate talking about this, but it's happening outside. They're killing black people outside. They're killing Asians. They're killing white people in movies like Iron Man, and I hate that. And my cousin's so stupid. She's like, you know what? Don't worry, Ron. We're safe. We're not Chinese. We're Filipino. I'm like, are you crazy? You think the racists know the difference between Chinese and Filipino? You know what the difference between Chinese and Filipino to a racist is? The difference between a Honda Civic and a tinted Honda Civic. One's a little darker, but more stylish. That's it! Filipinos, we're We're not even full Asian. The government didn't know we were. They just put us in an Asian category. We're actually a mix. We're half Asian and half Latino. When my parents came to Canada, they had to fill out a form for the government to choose what race they were. They had to check mark white, black, Latino, Asian, or Middle Eastern. They would check mark Asian and then Latino, have 2 lines drawn on one, and then write Filipino. It was true, we're half Asian and half Latino. See, what happened was, back in the day in the 1500s, Spain went to Philippines, made love to everybody, and then left us. It's like, where's your dad? On those boats. Where are they going? To the Caribbean. Why? To make Cubans now. That joke never works in Miami, by the way. And my parents taught me English. It was kind of weird because they had the Filipino accent, so I grew up with an accent. You know how messed up that was? I had a Filipino accent growing up, but I wasn't born in the Philippines. I didn't know how to speak Filipino either. I just had a Filipino accent as a kid. The teacher's like, so where are you from? Canada! Are you sure? Positive! You can't speak any Filipino? Not at all. This kid's a North Korean spy for sure. I remember the report card read, Ron has a problem pronouncing his F and P's and V's and B's. He pronounces friends as friends. My dad's like, why do you pronounce friends as friends? Who taught that to you? You have a breaking problem, you know that? I'm big for a Filipino too. My dad's not even 5 feet tall. He keeps looking at me like I'm a monster. Look how big you are. Look at my creation! Like Frankenstein. They love seafood, they love fish. Tilapia, red snapper. My dad's favorite fish is called milkfish. It's from the Philippines. There's 1 million bones in the fish, and he can't get enough of it. Here's my dad every Sunday morning. Number 1 fish from the Philippines, milkfish. Number 1! Call the doctor. And the cat's looking at him like, call the doctors. We have delicacies. Any Filipinos here? Make some noise. Okay. You're not Filipino here? No? No? Just say you are. Anyways, make me feel comfortable. We have delicacies in our community. Every culture is a delicacy, which means it's gross. That's why they call it a delicacy. You have to be delicate to the situation. That's like having an ugly child. You can't call the child ugly. You have to call it smart. You know, he's a genius. He'll be fine. Look away. Filipinos have this one delicacy called balut. Oh, you guys know this? Do you have Filipinos in your basement? What's going on here? If you don't know, it's a duck embryo. Relax. I'm not selling them to you after the show as merch. I'll sign your balut. To explain, the first week of any egg's a yolk. The 4th week, it's the bird. It's right smack dab in the middle. I don't know why Filipinos eat this. We couldn't wait for the process to end. Can you pull the plug now? I'm hungry over here. I saw this in that TV show Fear Factor. Remember that Joe Rogan show? This guy wouldn't eat balut for $50,000. My dad was like, that's bull crap! I have 2 in my pocket right now. 50,000, very easy. My dad used to sell these baluts to the Filipino community in Toronto back in the 80s. When I was 6 years old, I was a prankster. What I would do, take a cooked balut from home, bring it to school, put it under a tree, take the balut halfway out to make it look like it fell from the nest. I know, I was a messed up kid. I went to therapy for this. But anyways, and the kids would gather, oh my gosh, there's a baby bird that fell from the tree. That's so sad. I walk in, how much did you pay me to eat it? I made $100 at 6 years old. That was a diabolical genius. The principal called my dad, Mr. Josol, your son's eating dead birds falling from trees. Are you stupid? No, Dad, it was a scam. I made $100 for 1 balut. I'm gonna take you, bring it to school, and you can do it again. You're a genius. Look at my creation. Here's a question for the women. Who's more emotional when it comes to the breakup, man or women? I didn't say, This is Judge Judy. Answer quick. I believe men are, because men are more we get angry too quick. When this is how a guy breaks up with you. It's over! We're done! Forget about it! I hate you! And then a minute later, like, why did I say all that bull crap? I gotta pretend I'm happy now? Women break up differently. Women don't, see, they compartmentalize the breakups. They can do something we can't do. They can go, okay, let's look at the situation. Okay, I can't break up now because it's all about timing. I can't break up now because my birthday's next week. And he's bringing me to the drive-by show. What I'm saying is, some of you guys are gonna get dumped after this show. So my dad, really, I love my dad. He's one of the greatest guys. He taught me a lot of things. He also taught me how to fight. Like, he was a martial artist, and I got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. What happened was, so the UFC, here's a quick story before I continue. The UFC started in 1993 in Denver, Colorado, but it was happening in Brazil in the 30s. A family called the Gracie family learned jiu-jitsu from Japanese tourists, took it in their own family, and then made it a martial art on the streets. And in 1992, they promoted the UFC through this thing called the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Challenge. If you could beat any of the Gracie brothers, you get $10,000. So in 1992, when I was 18, I flew to California to fight one of the brothers. And as you can tell, I'm doing stand-up comedy because the fight didn't go too well. This is when you know people are good in what they do. They don't take nothing serious. It's too easy. I walked in, I want to fight. I want that 10 grand. They're like, oh, very cute, very cute. Sign the waiver. After you lose, we have cookies and milk for you. I'm like, how do you know I'm gonna lose? You took off your shirt, you're a B cup, you will lose. So I put my shirt back on. And then in wrestling, I had to fight this guy, Royce Gracie. Now, Royce Gracie in 1992, nobody knew who he was, but he won the first 2 UFCs, right? And so he was 26 years old, 6'2", he couldn't speak English yet, so I had to fight him. And I was a wrestler in high school, so this is my thought. I'm gonna pick him up, put him down, and beat him up, and take that 10 grand. This is why you don't fight a professional fighter. This is how fast the fight went. I picked him up, put him down, right before I punched him, I woke up. What happened was I charged him, right? Grabbed his legs and picked him up over my head. I thought I won it right away. I didn't know there were counters to different moves. My head was under his armpit, so he took his other bicep, grabbed it, and when I slammed him, he choked me out with my own body weight. It's called the guillotine. I was out cold in a right angle position. Then I woke up, I'm like, what happened? And he's like, you didn't tap out. I'm like, why can you speak English now? If you can't breathe, tell me, I'll let you go. Why you telling that before we fought, man? Across the room, I see my brother getting choked up with his brother. I'm like, hey, tap out, they're cheaters! You ever learn something in life when you're a child or you're younger, then it comes back to you years later? It's such a weird thing, right? I remember when I was, that was 18, so literally 20 years later, my brother and I in a bar, we see this fight, these guys are beating up these 2 guys, and we're like, that was crazy. And they're like, you want some too? And I was like, no, I've eaten, I'm full, right? And that got them pissed. So they charged us and put us against the wall and tried to take us down by our legs. I let it beat. I turned to my brother and go, we know the counter to this move. Take your guy, I'll take my guy. Pull! Both these guys passed out. Cops came in. What happened here? Not our fault. You don't know how to tap out. Here's my last story. So I started comedy in 1995. My first year in comedy, I met this guy. It was Russell Peters. He was one of my first friends. Yeah, and he blew up on YouTube in 2004. He's an East Indian comic, really world famous, right? I'm still friends with him today. I got to open up for him in Vegas. 20,000 people, kind of like this. And there was more of this in the audience. And he's still laughing. It's okay. And so basically, I opened up for in Vegas, right? And he's a very generous guy. One time he was driving in Hollywood Boulevard, and he saw one of our comic friends that was sleeping in his car with his wife and newborn baby. It's like 2 a.m. He knocks on the window. He's like, what do you do in the car? The guy starts crying. He's like, I'm so embarrassed, Russell, I'm homeless. He's like, you don't have to be embarrassed. Russell was so sad. He gave enough money to stay in an apartment for 3 years with his whole family. When I heard this, I was so touched. I drove to Russell's house, and I slept in my car. Stupid. says, street cleaners are coming in 30 minutes, idiot. He's a very generous guy. So after I made my friend Jason open up for Russell in Vegas, he paid us, and then Jason comes up to me and he's like, Ron, Russell gave me another $500. I'm like, how? I just asked him and he gave it to me. I'm like, I can never do that. I can never ask my rich friends for money. That's against my morals. I could bait him though. That's not asking, right? It's like Oxycontin. It's not heroin. There's a receipt. And caught you. He laughed too much. Anyways. So I'm trying to bait this guy to give me money, all right? So I'm like playing in this lot, which is like, oh, if I don't win my money back, I'm messed up. I might have to sleep in my car again, right? He doesn't even look at me. So I leave. And I noticed something. When you're subtle, when you're trying to do things, people do respond to you, but you have to be subtle. So this is a real emotion. I was walking away, I was upset. You ever see a pebble in the ground and you kick it because you're sad? I was just like, shucks. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, that worked? I'm like, yeah, do you want some money? I'm like, I don't know. If you want some money, just ask. I can't ask you for money. You know what he does? He takes it out of his wallet, puts it in my hand, and he goes, there's $1,000 right there for you. I'm like, I can't take this, Russ. It's like, Ron, I made $30 million this year. Giving you $1,000 like you giving your friend $1. I'm like, then why are you being so cheap? Hey, you guys are amazing. Thank you very much.